Hello everybody, my name is Kumar and today we are going to be reviewing our 16th installment of the first season of Bubble Guppies. Season 1, Episode 16, Super Shrimptennial Celebration. In this episode is the Shrimptennial Celebration in the Big Bubble City and the Bubble Guppies visit. Now this episode is one of my favorites within the first season, along with our next episode. More on that later. But this one is so sentimental to me. As someone who lives in the city, and I will say that their Big Bubble City homage is, they're clearly trying to mock Times Square in some sort of way, and I support them so much. If you know, in my Wonder Pet Save the Pigeon review, I talked about how much I love the city setting, and this one is no exception. I absolutely love it. But more on the city setting later. But our episode starts with Guppies swimming in school, and then he swims near a bus stop, and he sees some people, some crab. I believe it was 2 lobsters and a crab, and they were explaining to Guppy, "Happy Shrimptennial celebration." And then he was like, "Happy Shrimp what?" And then they explained to him, Shrimptennial is a celebration, and the celebration is going to take place at a special building called the Big Bubble Building, and apparently it's their tallest building in Big Bubble City. And Gobi explains that he's never been to a big building before, and then right when he says that he really wants to go, their bus comes, and then it's actually a double decker, which I always wanted to go on them. I actually never went on a double decker before. The double decker comes to pick them up, and then they're on their way to the Big Bubble City, and then he was like, and I like how he's like to the audience, like, "Let's go tell everybody about the Shrimptennial celebration." And then when he finally gets to school, he explains out loud, "Happy Shrimptennial." And then Mr. Grouper says, "Oh, you're right, it is the Shrimptennial today." And then he explains that the Shrimptennial is a special celebration in the city. And then we have our question segment, and it explains what type of things will you see in the city. And then we have my all-time favorite pop songs, Big Bubble City, performed by my wonderful drama queen, Dima. Honestly, if I could see Molly sing this, I cannot see Molly sing this song. The only Guppy who can make this song work is Dima. And this song explains her to a T. You know how she's like all like dramatic and stuff? Like this whole pop song vibe just gives off straight Broadway. And I feel like that's what Dima was going for. Like, oh my god, like Bubble City, oh what a town. Skyscrapers are up and the subways are down, and everybody's always going round and around. Everywhere you go, and on Big Bubble City. And especially that ending when she like, "Bring it home, Guppies," and then they're like doing the can holding hands, and then I squealed at that part. I squealed like, oh, like I know they're not doing the can, and then Dima brought it home herself when she was like, "And everybody's always going round and around." Like, ooh, my girl, eat. This is Dima's best song, no questions asked. Y'all, if y'all want to say no, Molly should have done the pop song, it's how it is. No. Other Guppies deserve the spotlight too, and I feel like Dima deserved it. She deserved to sing this song. 'Cause she ate. She ate it up. She made waves on this song, pun intended. Now, we're on to the shop segment, and we have a bakery, and Molly wants a cake for the Shrimptennial celebration, and we have Nani running the cake spot. And he explains that he explains that he has a bit of a problem, and that there's some shapes, and they're the only shapes that he has in the bakery. And I like the little cakes that he shows off. I believe there was a taxi cake and a pigeon cake, which it's random, but it's cute. It's cute, random but cute, and honestly, they look so good. Especially the building cake. I loved it, and I like how there's a little bit of shape, like a little bit like things that like one shape can make can make the two different shapes at the same time, which we'll see that again in season 2 in Humongatron, but we'll talk about that way later on. And then I like, it gives off, and I especially love that scene where Molly cuts up the square and then she just like smacks it to make 3 different triangles, which is really good. And then I like when they finish the cake, there's like a little shrimp who says ahem, and he's like, I almost forgot. And then he puts a little flag on it, which was so cute. And then we have our lunch joke, and we have Una, who has horn on the cob. And y'all gonna be shocked when I say this. Tell me why this was the only lunch joke Una had until the revival. Like, almost a freaking decade. That's crazy. I feel like the lunch joke with season 1, I prefer the lunch jokes, not really just the lunch jokes itself. Not saying they're not funny, but I mean like the characters who get the lunch jokes more because there's more variety of characters. Who agrees with me on that? Because I feel like season 1 did lunch jokes better instead of just having one character. I feel like I'm really debating between I think it was mostly consistent in season 3. Yeah, I feel like season 3 was mostly consistent on having Nani have the lunch joke. But just, yeah. So then we have our Molly and Gil segment. And then we have Gil, who's dressed up as a building. And he says, I am Shrimptennial's spirit. And then Molly said, don't let shrimp see you wearing that building costume, because they'll think you're the real bubble building. And then we have a whole bunch of shrimp, and they climb inside of Gil, and they start tickling him. I would always laugh at this scene as a kid. It's just so funny. And then he's jumping, and oh man, it's just so funny. I'm sorry, it's just so funny. Oh man. Okay. And then we have and then as we're about to head to the classroom, we have Gopi. He's wearing a little bus hat, and he said, right this way for Big Bubble City Tours, which is really, really cute. And then we have Mr. Grouper, who, of course, is our bus. And then we have, like, different things. Like, they made, like, a cute little bridge with blocks. I used to do that all the time as a kid. And we have Dima, who is our mayor, which is really cute as well. And then we have Una as a little cop, and behind her, they made like the structure of how they made this is so cool. They made a giant big bubble building out of blocks. And then we have Clam at the top, who says so bluntly, "Happy Shrimptennial." Oh man, that's so funny. And then Mr. Grouper surprises them once again, best teacher ever, coming through, surprising them, saying that they're gonna go to the real bubble building tonight to celebrate. And then Gobi explains that, but the party isn't until nighttime. And then he says that while they're there, while waiting for the celebration, they could do other things in the city. And then we have another question segment, which explains what they can do in the city, like look at buildings, do some sightseeing, and eat a nice salty pretzel. And then we have our dance song, which is the city dance, which is really, 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 I love this song as a kid. Like, it made me really want to groove, especially that part where like she's like, everybody stop, now go. That was really fun. And now we have our storybook segment, which is the Temple of the Golden Pretzel, and we have Una and Gil pretending to be 2 explorers who are trying to find the golden pretzel. And as they're doing that, they're trying to avoid Pretzelquaddle. And he's afraid that they might eat them. And I like how we have and I love the twist of the city aspect in there. Like trying to get away from him and try to get to the golden pretzel, the Temple of the Golden Pretzel. We have trains in there. Like, that's genius. That is so genius. That is genius. And I like that scene where Pretzelquaddle's on one of the trains, and then they swim right onto the next one. Or was it back on the platform? I can't remember. I don't know. But when they finally made it to the Golden Pretzel, and he surprised them, and then they're like, please don't eat us. We probably taste terrible. And then he's like, eat you? You guys are weird. look, dude, don't call them weird when they were scared for their lives. I mean, you could explain to them that. I mean, he was nice in the end, letting them have some of their pretzels. His pretzels. It's actually his golden temple, which is really, really, really sweet. And then we after the story we have another Molly and Gil segment, and we have Gil trying to take a picture of a pigeon with his camera, and then when he's trying to look for the pigeon, he asked the audience, "Have you seen the pigeon?" And then he said, "Right on my head." He freaks out. He freaks out. And then when he was freaking out, Molly took the picture, and he was like, "Did you get it?" And Molly was like, "Nope, but I got your picture." It was really, really funny. And he's like, "You didn't get the pigeon." And then Molly's like, I wonder where it went. And then right when she's swimming off the scene, it's on her head. Oh, man. And then we finally have our field trip segment, which is them waiting at the same bus stop that Gobi was at the beginning of the episode. And they're waiting for the double-decker bus. And when it comes, they're on their way to Big Bubble City. And I really like the tour guide of the double-decker bus. He was pretty cool, showing them about, and I loved hearing the Guppies' excitement of what they're seeing, it was really, really fun. It was really cute. And them digging into pretzels, them doing some sightseeing was just so nice. And then when they finally get to the building, like, I love the design of the building. It's so, 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 so cool. And then when they're finally at the building, they're waiting for the celebration to happen. And then we have a little shrimp. I think it might be the same shrimp from the shop segment. I mean, just a cute little theory of mine. But we finally have it, and then we have the mayor returning again from the spring chicken is coming. Love that. And then we have her wanting somebody to come up from the audience to help her welcome the Shrimptennial celebration. And of course, she picks none other than Gobi. And then I like how the mayor says, "Come on up here, young man." And then I like it how she's like, "What's your name?" And then he's like, "Gobi." Like, I feel like that's what all people will do to kids whenever they pick kids from the audience. At least what I've seen. But then Gobi gets to pull the lever, and then there's a whole bunch of balloons and confetti, and they count down from 10. It's just sort of like a New Year's type of thing, but it's just, oh my god, it's so, so cool. And then we have our short song, Super Shrimptennial Celebration. Just, I love the song. It was really, really nice. And we even see the cake from the shop segment, which is really cute. It was really, really cute. Cute continuity. And just the ending of them, like, holding their flags. Just so, 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 so cute. I love it so much. And then we have our final Molly and Gil segment of the episode, where Gil and Molly are explaining how much they had fun at the celebration, and how Gil explained that he has the Shrimptennial on his shirt, the building on his shirt. And then we have the shrimp again mistaking his shirt for the real bubble building, and he giggles off the screen, belly flopping like a fish out of water. Oh man, pun intended. So overall, this episode was so much fun. It's ironic how I reviewed 2 city-based episodes this week, at least the time I'm recording this. But first with the Wonder Pets, and now with the Bubble Guppies. I guess this week was just a city-centric episode week for me. But anyway, yeah. So overall, I'm gonna give this episode a 10. By far one of my favorite episodes in this season. Also counting the next episode. Speaking of next episode, tune in with me next time as we will be reviewing our 17th episode, aka our first episode in production, or aka our first episode in production, season 1, episode 17. Happy Clam Day. See you all next time.